Brother, so you ready for?
I'm ready.
I'm thinking something simple like five breaths. Like you must do this for being a singer, right?
Never.
No,
No.
David with your kick-ass voice, you don't do this.
I don't do that. No, man, I'm terrible. I've realized because we rehearsed when 2 days ago, yesterday, 2 days ago. I just realized like the best for me is just not even warm up or anything. Just go there and just perform, because somehow, and this is completely wrong. Everybody who would be listening to it, don't listen to me. I'm wrong. But even in a warm up, you lose a bit of that energy, I feel like. So I know it's warm ups is just not to damage your vocal cords, but I guess if you have a good technique, you're not going to damage your vocal cords. Duh. But even the warm up procedure, vocal warm up, there is this element of like giving that performance, giving that energy away before you even start anything.
Wow.
So us rehearsing on Friday, there was I just literally I did like a bit of and things like that. And I've enjoyed the performance. I put it through, and your vocal cords just get right into the game. And there was no, I don't do breathing exercises. Again, long-winded answer, but I should. So I look forward to those. You guide me.
Yeah, and I feel too like I know what you're saying. Like I'm paraphrasing, but like I almost get like what you're saying is like there's almost like a spiritual thing to creativity, to art, to singing. It's like, yeah, you're using up your inspiration. You're almost like warm up exercises are like being in school. You're just like, you're just fucking doing your notes. It's like sometimes you just want to go right into the thing you're doing.
The moment, and just give it all, because those moments can go away. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, do people practice kissing before they kiss their loved ones and things like that? It's the passion of the moment. So like that's I think that projects much more within that.
I'm with you, and I also feel like maybe like even on that kissing thing, that's a good metaphor, because I feel like maybe in some sense it's like maybe like we're so concerned with doing it right, like singing properly, kissing properly, having sex properly. You know what I mean? Like everybody's just absolutely obsessed with like the right way to do things. And give me 1 second. I'm just going to switch my internet to my better internet here for a second.
Oops. I lost you there for a second. You good? Yeah. Okay.
We're good. So how is this about the same quality as last time?
Yes. Yeah. You're perfectly crisp. I'm on the best Wi-Fi ever in Amsterdam. So this should just be excellent.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like what I was thinking is like, like we're so concerned with doing things properly. You know what I mean? Like we're so concerned with singing right. Like I said, kissing, sex right and stuff. And it's like, maybe the natural passion is almost better. Man, I saw a Parkway Drive concert. I'm actually wearing a Parkway Drive sweater right now.
Nice one.
From their Ire show that I went to see like 7 years ago. But I'm like, I saw him live one time, and he almost like broke down doing a song. I think he was doing The River, and he just like kind of broke down, and his technique was being flawed, and he was like losing himself in the emotion. And, did that hurt his vocal cords? Probably a bit, but you got a live show. You got an experience that you will never experience again. I've seen Parkway Drive live 4 times. I've seen them before Ire and after Ire. And After Ire is a different band. It's a band that takes themselves seriously. You can tell they're putting all of this effort into their production. Winston has mastered what it means to be a frontman. But there is something beautiful about the naivety and the innocence and the natural way he used to be a frontman before Ire. There was just a go with the flow. After Ire, everything is scripted. Everything is like pyro, and I love it. It's fucking sick, but it's different. And I think there's a balance to be had of like, how do you balance doing it properly? And also, because if you do it too properly, you literally lose yourself. You become a photocopy of what creativity is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. More to say on that. Absolutely agree. And there's extra elements. Jesus, I can't remember whose performance that was. Alice in Chains, perhaps. So when like back in the days when Lane Stanley was still alive, bless him, when he completely started the wrong song and wrong note, wrong everything, and just like he made a beautiful point out of it, and it was just that clear massive mistake on any level, performance and things became like this beautiful moment within, and I guess he was, and Alice in Chains was a great example of like, that raw energy within that. It's like there was literally just the pain that was seeping through the pores of those guys, and like technique was literally secondary, but the emotions, and I think that the emotions, I think, is the hardest thing. Like everyone can learn technique. Like I wasn't a singer. Like Jesus Christ, that sounded I sounded bad, man. I was bad, and it was like learning singing. It takes time, takes practice, takes everything. But if you get drawn into this like technique, you can just lose yourself completely in that, and you have to balance it out with something that people don't have and people come to see, like which is emotions. Like I'm singing a song about a thing. I feel like this about the song. I feel about the performance. I feel the crowd. I want to talk to you. And it has to be correct. It has to be that great balance of like obviously performing a song, not singing a different song when the band is playing different songs. But but also just like grabbing that emotion, feeling it, and just shoving in people. That's what give them like, wow. Yeah, like, but again, everyone, there's a music taste for everybody. If you want to come and see like the perfect show, with the perfect technique, everything is just spot on. You go to see Dream Theater and things like that, when just like, damn, straight right, and there isn't a wrong note and things like that. Which again is nothing. I love those guys, and nothing wrong with that. But in my experience, like listening to loads of how would you say correctly, clinical music, I get tired. And I know that at some point I'll get tired of this clinical music and I won't come back to it.
Sorry to interrupt, David. What do you mean by clinical? Like, what do you mean by clinical music?
By clinical music, I mean, for example, those modern prog bands. So me too. I get bored of that stuff really quickly. Yeah, exactly. And I was a big fan. Like I was just like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. It's so cool, and they're so talented.
It's in your mind. Like what I've noticed about prog bands that I am not as big of a fan of is that prog bands, when I listen to them, I'm in my head. I'm analyzing them. I'm like, oh, that riff is interesting. That groove is interesting. That vocal style is interesting. But and this is something I've told you before, and then we'll get back to what you're saying about clinical stuff. But my favorite songs on your Dear Mother record, Bulletproof, like again, Vertigo, like I'm talking about choruses, Vertigo, Means to No War, Fade In. Like I love it when you just fucking sustain open notes. I love that. I threw that record on today, actually. I was on a walk and I was just listening to a podcast. I'm like, I'm not feeling this. I want to feel something. And I was like, okay, I was just going through this. I was going to put on Parkway Drive and I was like, I'm having David on. I'm going to throw Dear Mother on. And sure enough, I went through your record again and I like all music, some songs really hit, other songs are kind of in the middle, but man, I remember I was listening to those 3 songs literally on repeat, again, and there is another one too, but the chorus of Fade In is it's so emotional, and Vertigo, it's you're just, I can feel it. You're sustaining these big open notes. And I don't know, this is just my projection of open notes, but I feel like that's where passion is. It's like when you're getting passionate, you're like a fucking volcano erupting, and that's the open, like boom, and then there's a blow off top. You know what I mean? Describe that. How do you feel the difference between different chorus styles?
I absolutely agree with you. You know, that's the most passion when you're happy or sad, like you yell and you're like, you're sustaining that one note, isn't it? So like I think it's very primal within us to just like and whatever that is, and just keeping that, and it connects with people much on a much higher level. Maybe within us realizing.
Deeper, not on a higher level, like a deeper, like I feel it. I'm like, man, I'm feeling David right now. Like literally, that's what it feels like. I'm connecting with this other part of David, but keep going.
That's no, absolutely. And like with us, and you just say with those song, choruses and things, it definitely hits much more bigger. I think in the whole history of songs, like it's always those open, big choruses.
Dude, Bon Jovi, bro. Exactly. Bon motherfucking Jovi. Why are they the biggest band in the world? Like, because that's what they fucking do. They just boom, like living on a prayer or something.
Living on a prayer or always love, baby. I'll be that fucking long notes all the fucking time.
Dude.
And it's just like, yes, I'm so in love with you, Bon Jovi, and everyone else around me. So that's 100%. You're 100% right in this sense. I think it's just like making different choruses. I think it's just for the band not to get bored. I guess for the long things, just finding this inspiration beyond the standard stuff, obviously. But it's you definitely absolutely right about that. Like the big choruses and I look forward to. We actually. No, actually, no. I'm not. Am I? No, I'm not allowed to. I have Frank here. Actually, he's there.
Wait. Is Frank your drummer? No, that's Joey. No. Joey's your drummer.
No, that correct. Frank is our like. Frank, what's your title? Project manager, merchandiser, sexy man, idol. Yeah, he's our daddy. So he does everything. And he's an absolute machine. He's right now packing merch.
And what are you not allowed to say because Frank is there?
Oh yeah, no. I wanted to almost reveal a set list. That Frank would probably slap me right
now. Bro, you have to be playing Vertigo, man. Come on, are you playing Vertigo?
We're playing everything. We're playing everything. Absolutely everything. That
Vertigo, Means to No War, and Faden. I can't fucking wait, man. Like those are boom.
That's good. Yeah, exactly. We're recording both shows actually. In fact, so that's So that there'll be some yummy stuff. So for whomever can't fly over, will experience Dear Mother live probably months later because it takes a while to put together. But so that's going to be great. Yeah, I look forward to I look forward to every single song. And
the thing, like you had a really good point too. Is that you can't do all open choruses because we know what that's like. And I've listened to albums where I'm 4 songs in. I'm like, man, this album's amazing. Every song is big. Then you get to song number 9 and then you get to song number 10 and then it's over and you go, that was kind of like one big song. Like I just kind of felt like I was listening to the same thing over and over again. And sometimes, again, maybe I think the reason why I like those, like, and I also love the chorus for Symbiosis too. And obviously Satellite. I love the chorus for Satellite. Those are probably my 5 favorite songs. Oh, of course, 12 Years in Exile. I love the chorus in that one too. Again, I'm not going to try to sing it. I was about to try to do it. Like, I'm not going to embarrass myself on the podcast.
I just can't embarrass yourself more than I will on stage.
Yeah. So. And it's like what I like. The reason why those songs jump out to me is there's other songs in the record that play the symbiotic part to have those songs shine. If every song was Vertigo, there's no Vertigo. If every song is Means to No War, then you just, it's Means to No War 10 times. It's like, I love those songs so much because when they're not on, I'm
That's
feeling
correct.
something different. I'm being maybe pulled into anger more, like Invincible or something. It doesn't have as open of a chorus if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that.
That's a bit close.
Yeah, and then it's like those ebbs and flows are so important, and in some weird way, it's like you don't want it to be awesome all the time. You actually don't. If you read Harry Potter, if you read Lord of the Rings, if you watch these movies, it's like sometimes you're not always doing war scenes in Lord of the Rings. A lot of time you're following the hobbits. Like you're just fucking Gandalf is talking to Frodo. They're eating food. They're sleeping.
Exactly. Describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing this boring shit. And then it's like Minas Tirith. It's like and then not Rohan. What's the Two Towers? There's the big war in Two Towers. Not Isengard. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like you get those fucking 3 or 4 war scenes and you go, oh shit, like the wars here, like that's it on an album. You're like, okay, for me, the war scene or like the epic dramatic scene that makes you cry, that's like the big chorus, Bon Jovi, Vertigo, like that's that thing, you know what I mean? Fade In. It's like, and then, you go into like Palace or Heart or something and you go into a different vibe, a different feeling. And then it's just like, it's this beautiful metamorphosis, ebb and flow. And I guess like the art of being an artist is, how do you give different vibes? How do you give different sonic landscapes while making all of them click? And believe me, nobody gets it right. There is not a single artist, none, where I like literally like my favorite bands, my top 5 favorite bands. There's probably 10 songs of each artist I don't like, or not that I dislike it. I don't really care for it. And it's like, there's no artist that's like perfect. And maybe that's just subjective. Maybe the songs I don't like, those are other people's favorites. And I have to eat my words, because now it's not about having a good song, a bad song. It's like, you're just creating different moods. Like when somebody's in a chill mood, they want to listen to something that's just gets them in their heart. When they're fucking like, they want to just blow off, it's like they want that open, either they want anger in the screaming or they want the big massive arena chorus. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, it's as you said previously, music is extremely subjective. It's a subjective art. Like it's not for everyone. It's not even for the person that loves it. It's not necessarily tailored for them, because I mean, that would be incredible if someone just like, Jesus Christ, every single song I love. Like, impossible. And, because with your music, you're approaching much wider audience. And your music has been composed at least in a band scenario, by several people. So there's like compromises. True. Creative compromises, and there's creative flow that digs differently. And like, if you maybe take this path, that the listener on the other side would respond with it differently. But your guitarist, your bassist, your drummer didn't feel it at that time, and that's completely fine. To rewrite the entire Bulletproof, like for Dear Mother, a year later, it would sound different. You would really have songs. 100%, yes.
How so? Do you think?
Oh, a different mind space. Oh, Jesus, especially with, again, 2022 being such a dark year, you'll be like, the choruses, everything would just be reflected to it. Like, because I can unleash happiness as much as I would. It all be different. It's like there's a timestamp on the album, like the timestamp of our mindsets, the timestamp of like we felt like was good, we felt like and it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just, if you want or not, these are the times you went through writing that music, and will remain like this forever. It was just, it's tattooed to 2018 when you started writing it. 2018. Oh wow! So yeah, that's simple as that. So like, if like the album didn't happen, we still had some music or ideas and sort of start putting the songs together. Lyrics would be different, things different. We would have different things if we were to record 100%. And I am 100% convinced every single artist on this planet would have exactly the same thing, like from Metallica to, I don't know, Marilyn Manson.
Interesting. And where have you guys started coming up with ideas for the next record? Have you started writing anything? Is there any blueprint you're feeling about this next record?
Yes. So we have 3 or 4 songs that we started writing, but we put a pause on it right away because the magic that happens between me and Meryl is this empty space that we can sort of fuel, and the extremely fast responsiveness between 2 of us. So like Meryl has finished the song, she sends it to me, and I'm like immediately working on it. And 2 days later, I'll send it back to her. And like the creative juices are flowing in your attachment to the song. You are in the mood. Whilst we were prepping now for the release shows, and Jesus, that's many production things that needed to be sorted. We are writing songs in between, but we are squeezing in that like, okay, well, I have 2 hours and I'm going to try write a riff. I have 2 hours. I need to try write a hook.
You're a bit stressed.
A bit stressed, and yeah, and we were listening to the songs back, and I was actually listening to them not that long ago. They were good, but it always like we resorting to our familiarities to playing it safe. So like, oh, I know this works. I'm gonna repeat it again, and it's gonna work again. And there is no progress in that. I'm not saying like our second album is gonna be different, but it has to be at least different somehow in our eyes. I don't think we're just gonna switch to country and things like that. But like, there'll be this progress that we'll see. There'll be, still so much to experiment in verses, and like, slow or maybe faster like passages for me to just go. Because I really like that. Because many bands that have like fast verses, I would say, like in lyrically, like almost like
almost rapping, yeah,
the rapping, like just get da 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 da. Like,
dude, I fucking love that. That would be so. I'd love to see something like that from you.
Exactly, yeah, and white boy like me, that's gonna be hilarious. But I'm up for a challenge and experiment with that. But you have to have time, and like, if you feel like, well, I have to, accomplish the verse by the end of tomorrow or the end of the week, you're gonna resort in like what you already know that the band likes, that you like, and it's gonna work because you're good at it. And it's cowardly to do so. So whilst you can experiment more, and maybe you might resort back to the verse that you've written that is more familiar, but you had that journey to got to that point. And if you didn't get that journey of experimenting and failing hardcore and having that album just like imprinted very quickly, wouldn't feel good about that.
Yeah, well, it's even like it's not even like it's cowardly to phone it in, but it just doesn't light you up. It like, what is the point of living if you're not actually like creating? Like when you're falling back on what works, you're actually not creating anything. You are mimicking. And
mimicking, and
that's like, let's not put a blame on it. Let's not say it's bad.
No.
It's just like, man, if you want to be the artist you can be, if you want to be the band that makes you, full of not even pride, but makes you inspired to live your life, that's what you want to do. And the only way you do that is finding that blank void, and in the moment, just channeling what comes to you,
Absolutely correct. Yes. And a few bands were, if you on that topic already, like they're doing the music correctly and nicely, but like repeatedly the same, but it's still nice, and I would still listen to it. Like, for example, Muse. Like, I love Muse, and I love every single new song they release because I know what's gonna happen. I know that, and like, again, not putting blame on anyone in that band, because they're incredible musicians, incredible people, and everything is just, they know how it works, and then they know that this is how everything is, and you just print it more of that, more of good, like, again, more of good. And there's, again, no blame on them or like this or anything like that. It's just like, I know what to expect. if they jump out with something new, I'm not saying that, like, I would definitely be surprised, like, be like, whoo, like, you know, their massive jump within themselves was like from a Plug-in Baby to whatever the album came after that. It was just like you saw like, wow, they like rediscover them massively, and from you know, Resistance or whatever, after listening to Black Holes and Revelations, listening to them, I'm always like in awe and very impressed, but I know exactly what to expect from the next album, exactly what to do. Yeah, it's like this comfortableness of like, yeah, that's gonna come next, whilst like some artists can be like, great example is Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah. you never know what they're gonna do next.
You have no idea
pop or fucking death metal or something.
Exactly, death metal. They just like do whatever with that. Yeah, like, and that's why I'm always intrigued. Being like, okay, what these guys have in.
Me too.
Okay, it's country / metal / dubstep song or whatever, and you're like, yeah, of course, but it's awesome. And they don't get it right all the time, duh. But all the props for the guys, and to both parties, like Muse and Bring Me the Horizon. Like they both, you know, they found their niche, and they just whatever the reason behind them is, as long as they still make me feel feelings, which both bands do, they are on my radar. I will always stay.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'll play devil's advocate here for a second because I'm curious. Do you think that Muse? Because I haven't heard like that much Muse, but I've heard about 6 songs, and they're quite wildly different actually. Like I did Knights of Sidonia, and then I did Madness. Right there, those could not be any more different. And then I did like Pressure, which again is completely different. Thought Contagion, Drones. And then there are 2 new songs. And out of all of those, I can see some similarities, but I would argue almost that they're remarkably versatile. Yeah. So what is your thoughts on that?
Perhaps. Have you listened to like extensively their discography, or just those songs?
Just those songs.
Yeah. When you listen to the other songs, they are very similar, and like between those songs, there's like lots of similarities in Matt Bellamy's voice. Like, oh, it's like this.
That's true. I do find with Matt, he goes to very similar places melodically with his voice. Yeah.
Yes, correct. And the riffs in many ways, just like very, very much, you know, go in that sense, and uses of percussions and electronic creation within that. It's like, you know, obviously they have different pains to paint, but when you listen to that discography, like I would say from the beginning to the end, like, oh, I see, like they just change the pattern in the ways.
You see the themes.
I see the themes. Yes, correct. Yeah. Again, just to completely say it, like, this is not a diss, this is observation, and it's a clear thing, and it's a clear choice on their behalf, and absolutely nothing wrong. I just hope they carry on doing that music, because I do enjoy it every single time. So some people are just like, oh, I love this album more than that. It's like, it's basically very similar albums, and it's great they carry on doing that. It's just awesome. And it's, yeah, just evokes, like, I really like the music, like, big time, and the way they do things, and the way he sings. Big inspiration for me, actually. Matt
really?
Was, yeah, it is, yeah. He was just not afraid of, like, you know, using those glissanders and like the head voice, falsettos and things, and being being very vulnerable within the sings, and especially, like, I think he's very vulnerable in those like slow songs. Like Mad is great, Mad, like like he's really vulnerable, very vulnerable, very, very soft, very gentle, and I need your love. Like, it's like, wow, tears flying out of my eyes. And it's just like the build up and the things are just you know, this little soft boy that you want to like cuddle, but you know, and then he brings like those powerful songs, and it's just beautiful to see that vulnerability in a rock band, you know.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I feel like as I get older, that's becoming more and more of a must for me. Like when I was younger, I used to be able to do like the straight heavy stuff all the time.
Mm.
And as I get older, I'm like, I need to intermittently feel something very potent. It's like, and I don't know, like maybe I'm getting more like feminine. My feminine side is growing as I get older, because as it does, like when you're younger, you're very masculine. Like especially if you're a guy, you're like a lot of time very masculine. And in fairness, I always had a strong feminine side. I was always quite emotional. I remember I was watching King Kong when it came out, and I started crying when they were throwing all the tear gas at him and stuff. I was just like, I was bawling like a baby, man. And like, so I've always had that. And it's like, because I've always been weird that way. It's like everybody's like, oh, I love the really, really heavy stuff. I'm like, my favorite songs of like all metal bands are the ballads, like straight up.
Oh, yes.
The ballads are like, everyone's like, oh, I love this super heavy song. I'm like, yeah, I love the song where he's almost crying. That's always
exactly. It's easy. Come on, like it's oh my God. I think that's a great topic. This is a topic of that was the toxic masculinity, of just it's definitely embedded in us. And like, I only listen to heavy stuff, and when they like vomit and talk about death and raining blood, which for me, like
raining blood. Yeah.
That's
so metal, dude.
It's so metal. Yeah, exactly. Dying fetus and things. And yeah, I'm only going to wear black and just be hateful towards my parents. But that's why I never grew, like Slayer never grew on me. I respect them because, they're titans. But that was such an overpower of just darkness. For the sake of darkness in my eyes.
It wasn't balanced with anything real.
No, exactly. No, like you said, like where's the balance? When it's like a bit of vulnerability. No, it's just like in your face, constant, like fast, hard, and you just like, if you're not gonna die on that show, then then why are you coming here? And again, that's wonderful. Not for me. Like the artistry come like when you can express your anger, express your excitement, express your vulnerability and things like that. And just like what a normal person you would do, like you not only friends with people that just like constantly gloomy, just I hate everything, or you're friends with people just like people that laugh, cry, sometimes crazy, sometimes it's that cascade of things. And it's very correctly said, like in the music that's you look for that, and it's great, and it's makes it nicely balanced. In fact, and for that, we always go very far. But what do you want to say about the just the guys listening to like the heavy, only the heavy stuff and nothing else, nothing that that's I feel like it's been pushed way too far in some instances, and I don't know where is it coming from. Maybe it's like the rock and metal community. I almost feel like we can be so insecure, not to let anything else and anything that can slightly resemble popular culture feelings, or which is popular culture is based on feelings like I love you baby, it could be done in a cheesy way or things like that. But it's just like, I arguably like most hated Metallica song is Nothing Else Matters, but I was re-listening to it not that long ago, so I didn't listen for ages. What a wonderful song. What a great song.
Yeah. Yes. And one thing one of my hypotheses on this is that I feel a lot of what metal is a direct retaliation from pop. And because pop was so like, you know me, I have two channels. One is like solo artists and pop, and the other is rock and metal. Like I love all of it, man. Straight up. I'm like, Ed Sheeran is like my boy. I fucking love Ed Sheeran.
Hell yeah. Go on.
And go on. And it's like, I feel like what happened is like the 80s, like pop was like really poppy. Whitney Houston. And I love that shit too. Tina Turner and whatever. And you got like Backstreet Boys and you got NSYNC. And I love that. I love the Backstreet Boys, man. They're one of my faves.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, like masterpiece of a pop song. Dude, exactly. And I feel like what metal did was they were like, maybe they didn't like that. They were like, oh, we're tired of the fakeness, because in fairness, a lot of pop is fake and manufactured. You listen to Katy Perry. I don't hate Katy Perry as a human being, but from what I've heard, her music has like zero substance. Like a lot of Britney Spears stuff. Some of it is super catchy. I actually dig like Oops, I Did It Again or whatever. But it's like, there's nothing real there. And I feel like, so metal went like this other thing, and they're just like, okay, we're going to be everything that pop's not. And you even literally hear that in people's language. They say, oh, that's poppy. Oh, I don't like Ask Alexandria's choruses, or like, when Danny sings, I just want him to scream all the time. I'm like, Danny's an insanely good singer. Let him sing. Let him sing. Exactly. Don't tell him to scream more. And it's almost like this just direct retaliation from pop. And I think what we're finally getting to is the pendulum is finding its way in the middle and being like, okay, metal is not defined by, honestly, I don't even know what metal is anymore. Because one thing I tried to do with my two channels, me and one of my main moderators, David, what we tried to do for like a week is we're trying to figure out what content goes on each channel. Like, because I used to have classic rock on my pop channel, because there's like pop and classics. And then I had the rock and metal channel being like the heavy stuff. Like if it's any lighter than Linkin Park, it doesn't go on that channel, like Linkin Park and heavy, right? And he's like, hey man, I'm thinking it might expand your audience and maybe you're putting yourself in a box here. And it was like really difficult for me to hear that, because I had built that idea in my head. I was like, no, it's rock and metal. Like that's what it is. I'm not going to dilute the culture. And we had just conversations. And finally I was like, you know what, actually, man, I think you've been right. Like, I think that I put myself in a box. And then, so the next question was, okay, what is the line of rock to be put on the rock shelf? To be put on Matchbox 20? And I was like, yeah, we put on Matchbox 20. Okay. What about Goo Goo Dolls? Well, yeah. Okay. What about Counting Crows? Yeah. And then and what about Sting? What about the Police? What about Fleetwood Mac? And it's like, we started going into it. And I'm like, and for every artist that I thought I knew where they went, like, they would like, it was just crazy, because they'd be like, what about the Killers? Like they had some like really poppy stuff. Where did they go? And it was like, every time I would think I understood something, he would prove me wrong. He'd be like, okay, well, what about this? And it quickly occurred to me, I'm like, literally, when you actually look at it like a flow chart, it's like fucking Coldplay and U2 are directly related to like Linkin Park. Like when you really get into it, it's like, okay, if you put Linkin Park, you have to put this band. If you put that band, you have to put that band. If you put that band's kind of similar to U2. You have to put U2. Okay, well, Coldplay was influenced by U2 mostly. Okay, then you have to put Coldplay. And then you're sitting here like you have Coldplay and fucking Parkway Drive and Dear Mother on the same channel. And then what the fuck's going on? I don't even know how to do this. And it's like, it boggled my fucking head. I was like, I don't even know what music is anymore. I don't know what distinctions are anymore. And it was like, and literally it's like Phil Collins. Where does Phil Collins and Genesis go? Because I'm like, I thought they were pop, but then Phil Collins is very similar to like Sting or Peter Gabriel. Yeah. Peter Gabriel has all this like alternative stuff that would not belong in pop, but is it related to like Linkin Park? It's like, dude, it becomes fucking bonkers in your head trying to understand this shit. And it's like all these people who are like, oh, this is what metal is. This is what rock is. I'm like, believe me, if you really look into this, you realize that you have no clue what the distinction between rock and metal is. Like, is Nickelback rock or metal? People are like, oh, rock. Okay. Well, like someone showed me a couple seconds of a song called This Means War. I'm like, bro, that's fucking metal. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even know what the distinctions are anymore.
That's absolutely right. There's actually one point that you mentioned that I would like to go back to. swing pendulum is that distinction and that sort of genre like specificness and protecting. I feel like what is happening, and definitely quote me on this, like in 5-7 years time. But I feel like metal is about to receive its like big awards after years and years and years, because it's
Bring Me the Horizon, I think, is going to start that with their thing with Ed Sheeran and Sigrid.
Exactly. And I'm like, that's why I'm such a big, like every single time they do something like that is bringing it to the pop, to the mainstream. I was like, you go boys, because you're fighting for all of us big time. And it's fucking great. And Ed Sheeran supporting it. I was like, fuck yeah, I love this little guy. I want to eat his head. You know, it's incredible. And this is super controversial, but I'm gonna say, like, even like guys like Machine Gun Kelly, like bringing like those things, like he hasn't done a song or anything that I like, but he's the pretty boy of LA that girls would listen to. And if you can somehow bring them closer to Blink 182, there's a very close call to jumping on the metal stuff. And that's like, it's that, you know, slight bridge, because, well, completely honestly, we all know it, like the charts and pop has been dominated by hip hop, like it has, but hip hop rap was a massive niche, like back in the days, like insane. Like it was as protected as metal was. Just, you know, like, yeah, you know, the proper gangster. You can't
Public Enemy and Wu-Tang Clan.
Exactly. This is it. There's the same sort of protection over, like, no, we know how to do our shit. Like, and it's the same in the metal community. We know how to do our shit, and the same in the hip hop community. And that hip hop community, that sort of passion of protection and things like that, sort of, you know, then certain elements started popularizing it, and voila, and now it's so huge that literally just they debating in money and things like that. And the same with metal. It's just like, it's there. It's so core. Definitely not mainstream. You know, and here comes the Bring Me the Horizon, just bringing it to Emmys, and with Ed Sheeran, someone like Ed Sheeran. Like, it's incredible. And like that guy is just like that. And like all those kids will listen to it and be like, oh, we like this, like, and start exploring and things like that. And was it Travis Baker? Am I saying?
Travis Barker.
That's right. It's, with Ted's and Travis's Bakers and Barters and things, getting all confused. And, you know, those guys popping back in the scene and just sort of bringing it up. I'm just like, I'm rooting for them big time. Yes, the music that's been put out there, like, not my cup of tea, not gonna lie, but I love what they're doing and carry on doing it, because this is what we need to sort of like to bring metal to the main. And Jesus Christ, metalheads, don't throw guitar picks at me, but it will be great to have metal like to on the
yeah. Well, think about the 90s, man. Korn was huge. Like, and Korn, I'll be the first to say, I don't know any of Korn. I don't know any of these artists, but I study these niches. I'm a history guy. So I don't know, like, I never knew any Stained. I never knew any Korn. I never knew any really Slipknot. I was not even a Slipknot dude. And, but I knew how massive they were in the late 90s, early 2000s. Insane. It's like, dude, like literally pop punk was mainstream in the early 2000s. And it's like, okay, and all these people are like, oh, like, you know, metal's going to lose its creativity if it goes mainstream. It's like, no, it's not. Did Korn lose their creativity when they were made? Did Slipknot? Dude, Slipknot was arguably like bigger before than they were now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just because they were culturally relevant back then. They're one of the biggest metal bands in the world right now, but they're not as culturally relevant as they used to be. And then you had bands like Stain, Nickelback probably has some heavy stuff too. You know what I mean? It's like rock was mainstream. Rock was everywhere. Linkin Park was mainstream at one. Like Numb was fucking everywhere back in the early 2000s. Jesus, yeah. Amazing song. One of my favorite songs of all time, top 5. And it's like, man, it's like anything. It's like, okay, I don't know, 3 out of every 10 artists are going to be great. And, you know, I don't know, like, or, maybe 1 out of 10 is going to suck. Let's say that. So if you have 1,000 bands, that's like, my math fucking sucks, but that's not very many. That's not very many shitty bands. If you make something mainstream and now you have 20 million of those bands, you're going to get a lot more stinkers, but you're also going to get a lot more good ones that get mainstream attention. And it's like, the biggest thing is, okay, anyone who says like, I don't want it to go mainstream, it's like, okay, that is easy for you to say because your livelihood is not on the line. When David is trying to support his kids, his family, it's like, you don't want him to be able to support his family? Like, why wouldn't you want David and Dear Mother to be able to sell out arenas? You know what I mean? Like Nightwish or something. It's like, believe me, David's not going to change his music. It's just, it's not that the music is going to change to become mainstream. The mainstream is going to change to accept metal. That's the distinction. Nothing sonically is going to change. Believe me, you can't get any more rockier than modern Ask Alexandria or some of these like Bring Me the Horizon. It's like, it's like, they might go poppier every once in a while, but then they just threw out the album Human Nature, which I did an album reaction to. It's a really heavy album, a lot of those songs. The song Dear Diary or something, super heavy, like probably reminds me of some of the older stuff. So it's like, I'm all for things going, it's not, I don't even want to call it mainstream. I would love to live in a world where all music has this opportunity to shine regardless of the genre. And that I would rather there just not be gatekeepers, because we have artificial gatekeepers in society right now. People are taught that metal is abrasive. People are taught that, because if you grew up 10 years ago, you'd be listening to rock. You know what I mean? Like, or 20 years ago in the early 2000s. If it's the whole idea of if you take a person nowadays and raise them in the Roman times, like the Holy Roman Empire, they'd be indistinguishable from people back then. Same thing. If you take the modern hip hop listener, pop listener, and you raise them in the early 2000s, they're going to be listening to Blink-182 and, I don't know, Stained and Nickelback and stuff, even though now they hate that stuff. Or it's not even they hate it. They won't accept, there's a cognitive dissonance. They won't even allow themselves to even allow that in. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely right. You said it correctly. And again, great point about those artificial gatekeepers. That's exactly it. They're just there's a couple of people that just decide because, big butts and fake teeth, whatever they are made of, and throwing money is what's going to sell because X, Y, Z. That's
fake
what kids,
teeth.
Yeah. I don't know what they did. They have different.
Yeah, they have gold teeth and silver teeth. And shit.
I don't know what that is all about. It must be very comfortable, but it's just fair enough. It's very expensive. I would love to have those teeth. I'm not gonna lie, but those gatekeepers are just deciding what it is, and that's why I'm extremely it's that generation that we are not us. That's 10, 15 years younger. These are the ones that push that through. If they will the ones that will be doing TikTok reacts and putting that music on. And that's what's gonna kickstart it all, and it's all those small things that would kickstart that revolution, and then the gatekeepers will be well, we probably need to include more of this. So what if we bring another band that sounds like Bring Me the Horizon, so we can control them more, etc., etc., etc. And that will finally unleash that exactly those hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of bands that want to do this for livelihood and don't have to fight against this, those massive piles of gatekeepers to get what they want, where they need to be. And it's very unfair for me to look at the bands who's sort of popular but not really. Ginger, for example, it's a great example, right? They are doing great. We know that. But they're not minted. They're not driving Lambos and things like that. They probably live okay. That's fine. They pay their rent and have some money on their side. They definitely not like bathing in money and things like that. And they didn't like these. Like, that's not fair, man. they fucking deserve to be like, they worked their asses off. They slept on the fucking streets. They played in this shittiest club in Prague. I remember seeing them there in front of 10 people.
Wow.
Like they've done their dues, and now they're playing in front of the thousands. But again, because in the metal and rock community, the money's been spent on the dinosaurs. Again, that's completely fine. On Slipknots, on Metallicas, on Megadeths of the festivals, and it's completely fine. But like the lower bills are so underpaid, just because the big boys can ask for it, because at this point they are the ones keeping the metal alive, and the metal community sort of feeds off of that. And yeah, and that is disproportionate balance where it's like, promotional of, I don't know, the like big pop festivals, or even that's the budget behind it is like everyone's getting millions to the very last bill, and it's just because they know they will sell this more, and they're more drawn to it. But it's just like, it's fixing the world. And,
Yeah. And one thing I feel like too, what's probably going to happen is as metal and rock, let's just say as rock and metal becomes more mainstream, what's probably going to happen is like, I don't necessarily know if there's going to be any more bands that are rock and metal bands. If you actually look at now, there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of rock and metal bands. The only difference is that it's still like the 1% rule. So it's like, okay, Slipknot has all the money, and you have like 100,000 bands that have like 10 fans. You have 100,000 bands that have like 100 fans. And then, it just keeps going but like the floor is like a 0. You know what I mean? And what happens, like if Slipknot's making $1 million a year, whatever the number is, if rock and roll goes mainstream, Slipknot now is the next Katy Perry, and they make $100 million a year. And then if Dear Mother, I'm just throwing out a number here, wherever you are, if you're making, I don't know, let's just say $10,000 a year, I have no clue, but let's just say you're like at that level, 10,000. If it was mainstream, you'd now be making like, I don't know, 50 to 100,000. Like everything would just make more money. And then the people that are making is 0 would be making like 10,000. Like everybody's just making the next thing up because there's more money and attention being poured into this. Like back then it was like Blink-182 head honcho, right? It's like they were making tons of money. You got like Third Eye Blind, because I just did a reaction to them. It's like, they didn't have a massive fan base, but they had a pretty big hit. They probably made a lot, like $1 million on that hit. It's like, that'd be the same thing with like you know what I mean? Like you might get one single in your career. I'm not saying you guys, but let's say another band about the size of you guys has a big hit. It takes off, but then they retire. They still made $1 million on that hit. You know what I mean? All of them did. And they put it into investments. They walked away and whatever. It's like, that's the only difference, is like when there's more money in an ecosystem, everybody just gets paid a tier up. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Go on.
And it's that just, it makes that sort of, that hierarchy much better, because as you said, there's Monarchy, Slipknot, and etc. There's a couple of bands slightly lower, and then there's fuck all.
Yeah.
And then there's like bands that we consider big, and you see them on the billboard or on the flyers and things like that, and you consider them big, and they will sell out medium-sized venues or bigger venues. But like the money that's been floating in the system is so low, it's almost insulting for those guys. And again, like, I don't want to undermine Ginger in any way. I'm just, I had a lucky insight on some of things, and not Ginger, but like the similar sized bands. And it's like the money flow is not that impressive. Like, no. It's a okay salary. Okay. That's okay salary, like living, like impressing millions and millions of people. That's not fair. Like, but if that would be just like, what's her name? Tanya?
I think so.
Singer's name.
Gotcha. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, if she had like fake booty and was rapping about them money, that will be like a different game. But that girl decided to be a bloody demon, but like, yeah, I just, you know what, this is literally like a diss. I have a very strong opinion on that. I very dislike when a couple of young rap artists, and there's someone who really pissed me off. Island Boys, that's it.
Oh yeah. I've heard of them. I saw them on Logan Paul's podcast or something. Yeah.
Something like that. And I just like, I was like, well, fair enough. Like, not anything I like, from images, but I'm interested in their growth. How's that? And they're like, we worked so hard. So tirelessly. We worked so hard. And that meaning in their eyes is just like, going in the studio, recording a couple of times, and going back home and chilling and smoking weed and like recording again the next day. Maybe things are paid for. They have TikTok endorsement and things like that, and it's so hard. And then you see the band that's working really hard in the metal community, and we're talking about they're not eating for weeks, and they're fucking saving every single time so they can go in the studio. When they have a bit of a fucking thing, they go on tour. Again, like, living conditions of tour is like sleeping in the back seat in the venues, showering once a week.
Wait, is that actually like real? Like what size of band lives that lifestyle? What do you say?
Oh Jesus, many. Hey,
really?
Holy yes. Buy on tours that we're talking about 60K plus. Hiring a van, or if you have a buy-in with the tour bus, it probably will be much more. But like the amount that you have to spend just to perform, then obviously you have to do much. You're taking care of the things. It's a massive, just a beast.
I don't envy you guys, man. It's amazing, but it's like, right now in the state of rock and metal, it's just so hard to survive at the beginning.
Yes. Like actually physically survive. Like if you decide like you want to dedicate your life to music, actually survive is like, so that's why I'm a very I don't like hearing from let's say privileged parts that we work really hard. Like, sorry, but like you literally, your life is not on the line. Like, and then it's like, but even there is controversially sweeter to hear those bands coming out and just fucking, shoving their music down your throats, because it's so raw. It's so full of, the dirt that they've been sleeping in, that insanity they've been in, again, resorting in ginger, like Ukraine, what the fuck is happening there? Sorry, I don't know if I can.
Of course you can. Yeah. And 1 second, David, I just want to be very mindful of your time. How much time do you have? Because it's 2 minutes to 1 right now.
Oh, Jesus, man. I feel like we talked for 15 minutes, but I have, because I need to jump on. Tomorrow we have a pre-production day.
Gotcha.
So I'm really enjoying myself. Let's have around 20 minutes because before Frank will drag me by the leg.
All right. So we got another 15, 20?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Okay. And one thing I'll say about these Island Boy things is because
yes, please.
I like you. I'm an old man, and I like to complain about the youth nowadays. It's very much part of my personality.
Damn kids.
I am like fucking Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino, yelling at people to get off my lawn. But I do agree with you in some sense that I think very highly of good rap music, and I know you do too.
Yes,
I can tell. Like NF, Eminem, Hobson. I don't know. You fucking name it. It's such an incredible genre that I can't even fathom the rhyming schemes and the lyrical styles. It is so different. When I look at the lyrics because you know me, I break down lyrics after every video. When I break down rock and metal lyrics, it is so much easier to break down than rap lyrics. Rap lyrics are metaphors weaved in metaphors, and even the rhyming style is so difficult. But the one thing I'm not a fan of is mumble rap. I can honestly say I do not respect it as a genre. A lot of the time I don't like the cadence of it. And I'm not a huge fan of the lyrics, and I don't want to get down on it because there's no point. Like I've already said my thoughts on it, but like when, let's take the Island Boys, not to be too controversial, but they come out with a big hit, right? I'm like, man, you write a song like Satellite, right? A brilliant song. It's passionate. It's meaningful. You sing it beautifully. Meryl puts a lot of effort into the instrumental. That's a crafted, artistic, creative song. There's heart and soul that goes into that. And you schemed over it. And then someone creates like a mumble rap song and it hits TikTok and it goes viral. And when someone says, oh, I love mumble rap, I try to understand. I go, okay, I don't want to make fun of anything, but objectively speaking, what do you like about it? Like, does it make you feel something? Like, and a lot of them say it's funny, and it's like they like one thing I always hear is they love to drink and smoke to it, and they like to party to mumble rap. And I'm just like, I get it, but like, that's so strange that we live in a time where the dominant musical force is mumble rap and pop music devoid of any feeling. Like I listen to like new Maroon 5 because I'll review some old Maroon 5, like She Will Be Loved or, This Love. Even like the song with Rihanna, If I Never See Your Face Again. I'm like, those are great songs, especially like She Will Be Loved is a great song. And now I listen to what like they put out. I'm like, I don't feel anything. And so now like the dominant forces in music for the time being is like this new Maroon 5, Katy Perry, like, I don't know, I like to make fun of this Taylor Swift song Blank Space because I just think it's just such a pointless song. I don't even like it just doesn't do anything for me. But I'm like, man, it's just so interesting that like that is the biggest music in the world. Like we went from the biggest music being, I love Nickelback. You know what I mean? Like, Nickelback and Blink-182 and, great pop music like Backstreet Boys, I think is phenomenal. I mean, even NSYNC has some great stuff. They're pretty catchy, but it's like, I just sometimes think, I'm like, how did we go from that topping the charts to this? It's like, how did we get there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, see, there's two things. First is I wasn't even comparing the music itself because of what we said. It's very subjective. So, yes, we've written Satellite and has so many things and Island Boys saying, I'm an Island Boy. And I do not blame people to like one more than the other. Completely not. That's not my point. My point, I think, with that and exactly what you were saying is all of those OG artists like Eminem and things like that, they're rock stars because Eminem ate shit for ages. Like he went through hell. Like those artists, and that's what I'm saying. Like for me, like I don't like with the music. With the music now, there's loads of pop artists because aside from being a musician, I'm a workaholic. I do appreciate art of work itself for whichever way you devote your life towards. So I very much dislike for someone like those guys and those kids say that they work hard, and I don't like this world to be misinterpreted and twisted and see what working hard is like. And if I work this hard, I will also be this good. And that's, I think, was my point. Like the point that who's stopping charts and things like that. Yeah, I do not understand it as well. I do like loads of pop, even the modern one. but what I don't dislike, I'm very strongly opinionated towards, is do not dare to say you work hard for years and things like that. Shut up, shut up. Like the only, there's a couple of kids in the scene, but actually they're not in the music scene. Or at least I don't know, anyone that work really hard and really impress me with their age and work ethic. And I wish I wish they were musicians, because I think their music would be awesome. Like a couple of YouTubers like Mr. Beast, for example.
Yeah.
With his incredible, what a machine! Oh my God!
His creativity to market and to brand is exceptional.
Just like everything. Like I can't remember which podcast it was.
Joe Rogan. He was on Joe Rogan one.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Oh my God, that guy! He can say he worked hard. Oh my God, he can.
He's
and
smart.
And it's smart and everything. All my respect was the guy, and and that's the youth that is allowed to say it, because he's literally impressing me. Oh my God, he is. But like going back to music, like someone like that, or like again, unfortunately, I don't have many references in the pop, but I've listened to a couple of podcasts without knowing who these guys were, and we work so hard and things like that. I very dislike hearing that word. After researching and knowing like that you have daddy's money, or like, you had that deal and you could have sat on it. Like, don't tell me what hard is, like in the music, and what working hard is, because it's insulting for the other hardworking people in the music industry, especially like when you're working hard and produce. Sorry, in the case of Island Boys, pile of poop. And then you have hardworking people that produce incredible masterpieces that I will, unsigned. I know artists that probably give up. Essentially, I can't blame them for. And you compare those two, just because you hit the right sort of right spots within the media. That is sad. But yeah.
And it's funny too, because I get everything you're saying, and just to play devil's advocate a bit, I sometimes feel like the music industry is not one music industry; it's like two or three or several. It's just the connection's red. There we go. But yeah, it's like I sometimes feel like there's like several music industries, because I feel like you and the Island Boys are not playing the same game. And if they say they're working hard, I actually do think I understand what they mean, because I do think they work tirelessly hard. And the difference, though, is they don't work hard, in my opinion. I don't know anything about them. I can't actually state this, but this is my hypothesis. They don't work hard on their music the way that you do. But I think where they do work hard and tirelessly is studying trends and marketing and branding. Because I think that mainstream music is not about the music. They're essentially influencers and YouTubers who happen to make music, where you guys are artists and musicians. You're in the music industry as musicians. They're not. They're in the music industry as entertainers and branders and entrepreneurs. And I do think they work tirelessly at that, but they're not playing the game you're playing. They're not actually working tirelessly at making music. They're working at tirelessly at building this almost Logan Paul-like brand. And I actually really like Logan Paul. Actually, I wouldn't say I really like him, but I actually enjoy his podcast. I think George on his podcast is awesome. I love that dude.
Joe's Janko, yeah.
Yeah, I just love seeing their dynamics. And I love seeing Logan grow up. I love seeing him as he continually evolves as a human being. I'd love to get on his podcast one day. I'd love to have him on my podcast one day. And it will happen. I just don't know when. But it's like, yeah, I feel like those artists, those TikTok artists, they have more in common with Logan Paul than they have with you, I think.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very fair point you just made. Like, I absolutely can't argue with that. And it's something that I didn't perceive, because I guess, see, that's it. I'm so blinded by work and by that art that you are absolutely right. And I actually wanted to hit on that point, and you already like sort of, you said everything is that there's an argument of like, well, we island boys studied the trends, we study the things. It's your bloody fault if you think you're so bloody awesome, David, to study trends and make your TikTok in a swimming pool with funky hair. What is stopping you, idiot? And yeah, that can backfire in my face big time. And you're right there. I must say, yeah, that's pretty fair to say. In this sense, it's a it keeps me. What you just said took all my guns away. Is like the game has changed that you have to be, as of now, you have to be influencer first and musician second. And that's us musicians and things. It's very hard pill to swallow. To think like that, because we want to like be influencers through music, but it should be reversed and we should be thinking about. So, for what you said is absolutely correct. And
go on.
In this regard is for all of us to learn something. Metal community especially, because we hate those TikToks and Instagrams and things like that. It's bad, but dude, it's our choice.
Yeah, and the thing is, one thing I will say is, I don't think the metal or rock. A better thing to say, I don't think the true music community can actually compete with the Island Boys and the mumble rap community, because I don't know if you can make true musical art viral the same way you can with because essentially their music is a collection of memes within a sonic landscape. Like you'll be like, gang, 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 gang. And it's like, that's not musically what's getting attention. It's that it's a meme. They're making music built around memes. If the metal community tried to do that, it would be the death of art in a moment. And I don't think that should be the competition. But what I do think needs to change is, I don't know if you can cut it just being a musician anymore. I think what you need to do, and this is what I've done, is my whole thing was I wanted to be a podcaster. And I knew it would take me forever to even get to where I'm at now if I was just being a podcaster. So what did I do? I built a reaction channel to bring in, energy into my podcast. I think that that's going to have to happen in the music industry. I think that you're going to see a lot more artists becoming podcasters, artists doing reaction channels. You see, it's just this whole thing is like, and especially with you, man, David, you have a gift for conversation. No, I'm not fucking kidding. You have a deep gift. You are so nice to talk to. Your energy is fantastic. You're very creative, even with your camera work and everything. You work for Brian. You have a very gifted skill set. And I'm like, dude, you need to do that in a way to tie that in with your musical art, because that is what this world is going in. Because the way the world is going is we are entering a world where it's all about the cult of personality, whether you like it or not. Joe Rogan changed the game because he took news and he said, the news now is about who's presenting the news. Joe Rogan, Russell Brand, Brian Rose, Anton Czachor, whoever it is. It's like, it's about the individual. If you want to get woo-woo, we're in the age of Aquarius. It's the breakdown of structures and civilizations into groups and entertainment products. And I think all music is going to have to follow that. Last comment before we finish up.
Jesus Christ, you set it off. Bloody hell, I want to spend the whole day talking to you. But basically, you are so right about that. Especially, it's about the person. It's like about the personality. It's about embracing that and pushing that forward. And that's something in us, maybe age, maybe upbringing, maybe metal community, whatever, that we need to overcome. One thing, like the shining light on that, I want to say, I'm spending loads of time in Netherlands because of my band, but seeing it now, Netherlands is quite a tiny place, but it's incredible for rock and metal community. And I must say, there's so many incredible entrepreneurs and influencers and forward-thinking people that will just literally like punch a hole in the wall very soon, because they finally like realize the trend and following it really well. And with their incredible brains, they just blasting through it. Like Marcella from Mayan, who's a good friend of ours. She's like on the next level of entrepreneurial, and she has her new podcast and things like that. And it's incredible, and the things she's doing, and like exactly, she's pushing towards that. Same as being an incredible musician. Charlotte from Delane, we had a very lovely chat with her. We were working on the same project with her, and exactly the same thing. So sort of going that entrepreneurial, entertainment personality things. And Jesus, Meryl, from Dear Mother, like she's doing an incredible job, and she's being a person. She's being a person driving it. Like, Dear Mother wouldn't be Dear Mother without Meryl. Because not because she's an incredible musician, but like, everything that she has to, like, she does use her personality to draw in people. We'll play for 0 people if you'll be like someone else, the same music, same things, same whatever, but not Meryl's space, because she built that personality that people are drawn towards, and we all should be doing that. It's what Brian said, like it's you should be putting that content out there. Your duty is to communicate to the crowds. When you have something good, he didn't add that, Brian, but I'm pretty sure, read between the lines, like if you have something right to say, like your duty then is to communicate to the crowds, to communicate and influence as many people as possible. With you, and that's that's incredible point you made, and it's a very it's such a current thing to do, and such an important thing to do. And everyone who's doing music, not even music, podcasts and things, this is our way of communicating. Our way of communicating is creating that personality, creating yourself. Yourself, a music connoisseur, an incredible podcast that I do thoroughly enjoy talking to, etc. Myself, whomever I am, something I should probably establish and put on paper, and things like that. And it's should be defined, should be clear, and should be developed if we wanna be in those industries.
Dude, amen to that. And I definitely feel like I was gonna say, like, I think the next step for you, man, is putting yourself out there more. Like 100%. I have you specifically.
I agree with you. I swear to God, I'll be working on that. As I said, 2022 has been a bit of a rough year. I did take. I'm taking almost like a compulsory break from social media. In a sense, I need to regain that, because I did not feel right in some essences. To share happiness, although I know it sounds stupid as soon as I say it out loud.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and just like chugging my happiness towards, and that sort of those pieces of me reaching out people that are not experiencing the best time of their lives, and I felt like I shouldn't be doing that. And I know it's stupid. I think it's stupid.
Hey! Don't say that. Don't beat yourself up over it.
No, listen, it's that it's overthinking. It's pure overthinking.
And one thing I do want to say is it's not that you have a hang up on doing that on social media, is that you're like me. I fucking hate fake bullshit. I hate fake happiness. And I hate one of my pet peeves is those influencers who are on the internet who are giving like these like only positive messages all the time. There's no realism to what it is. And so for me, and I think you're in this category too, it's not about we can't share happiness on social media. We have to find our way. We have to find what resonates. How do you do it? Where maybe you haven't actually been through the experience that will unlock that yet. Maybe you might go through something that it changes your life. It changes your perspective. And now you're like, I have something to say. Because I also think that there's too many people who jump on social media without actually having anything to say, but they start saying things. They say, oh, love yourself. It's like, okay, where does that come from? It's like, well, I think everyone should love themselves. It's like, okay, but there's nothing grounding that message with you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Have you ever been suicidal? Have you ever been depressed? No, you had a silver platter, but you're telling everybody that life is going to get better. I can feel the bullshit through that. And I think that you can too. And I think that is what you don't want to be. So it's like, you can do that. You just got to find your way of actually being that kind of person.
Yes, correct. And that's exactly right. And it's sort of, I guess it's being slightly egoistic towards that, because the right people will understand you. The wrong people you don't even want to be around. So that's that, and sort of overcoming that. And sometimes the wrong people can be disguised as right people, and vice versa. Very much. So that is the most important thing. It's the most important message and most important thing. And I'm definitely will. I do want to open up myself, and I want to share with the world much more. The big time.
You're built for it.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like this year is my year. It started strong, but before every big jump, you have to bend your knees and get ready for that jump. And it looks like you're going to the ground, but you're actually getting ready for the jump. And this 2022 literally showed this big time with everything around the world and just the heaviness in the air. That sort of put me off of that. But you know what? Maybe these are the times, the hardest times, when you should do not wait for that magical moment. Once everything is fine.
Yeah. This is actually the time when people need people like you, is when everything's falling apart and people need hope, and people need a real sense of hope, not a fake bullshit hope. They need to actually have they just need people with courage. I think more than anything, they just need to witness courage. That's what helps people get through times like this. That's
absolutely right. Amen to that. Amen.
Amen, man. And now we're all done. So lastly, what are your plans for this year, and where can people reach you?
Absolutely. So plans for this year, very much Dear Mother based. So we're playing show 13th, 14th of May. So in 2 weeks' time, big time. Yes, look forward to that. After that, we have huge things planned, but that's sort of the outline straight after those gigs. So for the rest of the year, there'll be let's say a big work on a couple of big films.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, that will take a bit of production time and things like that. So that will be from my side the big work, and towards the end of the year, again, potentially don't want to spoil anything, but that's like a couple of big times. So this year is a year of music. This year is a year of Dear Mother, and loads of changes. And for me personally, you inspire me every single time we have a chat. More often chats, but I will get my ass out of the bum, and will also start spitting content and getting the message out there. So and find the way we can find please two things I will plug dearmotherofficial.com for if you want to visit any of the live gigs, and please do. And for me, I'm stat at davidpad.co.uk. So you will reach through that to all my social media, and please do. And I'm happy to chat and see your lovely faces.
Beautiful. And to anyone listening, if anybody likes rock or metal music, straight up, I'm not kidding. Dear Mother's first record, Bulletproof, had some absolutely fantastic songs. And yeah, it's like, because what I liked about it is like, there's a lot of variety. It's not all heavy. There's like some songs don't have that much screaming. Others just have a bit, but it's a fantastic record. So it's free. Like, we live in a world of free music.
Exactly.
So you literally can't miss out on anything. So just go YouTube and check out a couple songs. Check out Vertigo. That's one of my favorites. And yeah, Means to Know War and Satellite. If I was to plug 3 songs that for me kind of run the gamut of my favorite musical styles, just check out those 3. If you don't like it, cool. Everybody has subjective opinions, but if you like it,
that's right.
And if you've listened to this entire podcast, it means you love David anyway. So hey, you can love his music and you can love his personality. But yeah, David, thank you. Thanks for coming on, man. This was an absolute pleasure. I love talking to you this time, man.
Always pleasure. Sorry it took that long, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy we made it, and it was worth it. Like every single time with you. You're a sunshine.
Oh. All right, and everybody, I love you all. Bye-bye.